As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
We touched on it a little bit, but I think whenever all the dust settles on this national championship for Michigan and I this thing goes into the memory bank and we come back and talk about it from time to time, I think the most memorable person for the whole team is going to be Connor Stallions. And the way that the Michigan fan base kind of embraced him, and you saw the videos, them buying beers. He was there in Houston.
Did you see how many buckets of beer were in front of that guy? And they were just they kept setting them in
Kept
front of him.
coming. Kept coming. Uh, hanging out with the team after the game and celebrating. It's interesting. There's going to be a statue of Connor Stallion somewhere on campus, with some binoculars or something, maybe wearing a Central Michigan hat somewhere. It really kind of ties in how crazy of a year it was. Like if you just came in and watched the playoffs and watched Michigan win the national championship as kind of a casual fan, you don't even get I hardly discussed that during the broadcast at all, which I don't even remember them talking about. Maybe they did, and I just kind of in one ear and out the other. But you've got the championship, and then you've got this huge scandal that is still just kind of sitting there that we're just going to keep moving on and forget about, except for the statue on campus of Connor Stallions that they have in the future.
I is it weird that seeing my initial reaction to seeing those videos of Michigan fans like showing love for it? Is it weird that my initial reaction was, "Hey man, good for him"? I
That's kind of how I was. I was laughing,
I was like, I was like, man, good for him, because ultimately, do I think that he crossed the line? I do, but he didn't kill anybody. It's not like he committed some horrendous crime. And there was a stretch there where he was like the most discussed guy in the country.
Yeah.
And people, person after person, bashing the dude. And I get it. You know, I was saying he was a cheater too. But that guy, to his credit, he went through hell and he could have ratted Michigan out. And it sounds like he said, I'm not talking. And I hope that my hope is that Michigan and the Michigan fan base, I mean, you take care of your own, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all the guy ever wanted to do was help Michigan football win a championship, and mission accomplished, right? I mean,
Now is if you're Connor Stallions, right now is the time to set up a GoFundMe.
oh,
I'm without a job.
no. Now is the time to release the manifesto.
Oh yeah.
We need the manifesto, Connor. Come on, we want it.
TMZ pay big money for it.
How are you going to
You
build
gotta wait a
Michigan
couple
football
years.
into a dominant juggernaut? Come on, we need to know.
You got to wait a couple of years to release the book. But let me just say, last thing. Let's not forget the uproar, the despair, the anger that this created, right? How everyone was up in arms about it. Let's not forget that. Whenever we move into next season and college football's done nothing about it, there's a reason that the NFL has had helmet communication for 25 years and college football still doesn't have it. What is that reason? Well, the reason is because teams feel like their sign stealing operation is better than the other team's sign stealing operation. and that gives them an edge. That is the only reason college football does not have it, and most likely will not even have it in the future, even after this whole situation.
I think that college football, you're going to have the option to use it or not.
They had that in
And
the bowl game, and almost everyone, I think, opted out.
and one of the main reasons I I don't think coaches want to do it.
Yeah.
I think coaches like sending their 2 or 3 signals and having their one play calls and having it mean everything. I I think tempo teams especially are going to say no thanks. We'll keep signaling. If we got to go through the headset, it slows us down. My dream is that college football forces every team to use it, which will then force every team to huddle. That's my dream. Because then we'd get a rhythm to college football, and I would love it. But yeah, I think if teams have the option, a lot of teams are going to continue to say no thanks. We want to play fast, and we can't do that with the headset.
You've heard me. I think every team should have to huddle unless it's what maybe you can go 2-minute drill, 4 minutes, whatever, before the half and before the end of the game. It'll eliminate all this bullshit like Snell and substitution crap that we see,
So
all of
stupid.
the delay of game and needless timeouts because of it. I think you should have to huddle where everyone that's going to go out into the formation has to come into some type of group between the hashes. That's just my opinion. Whatever. Not going to happen.
I would love it so much. All right. We sound so old, by the way. We just sound like old, angry men. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
We touched on this a little bit too. Tennessee Titans for getting rid of Mike Vrabel. What are they doing? He is coach of the year. They've been a constant winner. Now, they've had their ups and downs, but, they're one of those teams that's been kind of in draft purgatory where they've been, good enough to be relevant, make the playoffs, but, haven't been bad enough to have one of those top draft picks, especially at quarterback, that can change things. I don't know what Tennessee's doing. I was shocked to hear that they let go of Vrabel.
I was as well, especially, I know quite a few guys there in Tennessee that played for him, and every single one of them loves the guy. And I think he's widely considered, at the very least, a top 7, top 8 coach in the league. A lot of people, I think, would put him in their top 5. Now, these last 2 seasons, right, they've struggled in division play, and they haven't been very good the last 2 years. But it wasn't that long ago where they were the 1 seed.
Yep.
So I just think if you're the Tennessee Titans and you've got what a lot of people consider one of the best coaches in all of football, you better have something in plan already. And maybe it's Harbaugh. But just from hearing their owner talk, it doesn't sound like there's some master plan at work here. I don't know, but all I know is they made a change at GM last year. We talked about it on here. We were a little surprised because they kind of had things rolling. They fired Robinson.
It sounds like without much discussion with Vrabel about it, right?
And if Rand Carthen, the new GM, and Vrabel see things differently, if they've got, some of the reporting is they kind of had different timelines in mind. I'm going to getting a new GM. I just with the amount of respect that Vrabel has around the league from coaches and players, if you're the Tennessee Titans, you typically don't fire a guy like that. But
yeah, I was shocked by it. And, who knows what happens with Belichick at New England? There's already been people saying, well, hey, how's Vrabel fit there? Which he's that kind of that style of guy with what they've been over the years. I don't know, musical chairs season for the NFL.
Yeah, that one was a bit of a stunner. What were they? I know they were 6-11 this year. It's not a good season for the Titans.
No, well, they've got a bunch of money tied up in a running back who has been great but is aging rapidly. You know, they've got to get some star. They've, kind of hemorrhaged some skill position talent. They haven't had like a real. They were good at quarterback whenever their roster was good everywhere else, and you could kind of navigate your way. They, just like everyone else in the NFL, they are waiting for their turn to have a game changer at quarterback.
Yeah, a lot of change for Tennessee. You think about it, Vrabel's gone. Derrick Henry's about to be a free agent. So, kind of the staples of that franchise, Tannehill's going to be gone. Now, this stretch of Tennessee Titans football, it seems like I don't want to say they're hitting reset, but seems like it's the start of a new era there. And there's a lot going for it.
Yeah.
Nashville is, one of, if not the hottest city in the United States. They're getting a new stadium. There's going to be some flexibility, I assume, with the cap.
When is the new stadium supposed to be complete?
I don't remember.
Gear up for tank away until we can get that big draft pick and make our debut in the brand new stadium.
Yeah, I would assume it'll be quite some time, but it'll be nice. Who knows now with the way that construction's going? Who knows, Ted? You know that world better than I do.
2-15 incoming over the next 2 seasons for the Tennessee Titans.
No faith in Will Levis, huh? Okay.
Well, I think it'll be a kind of a design thing. That's probably the timeline discussion, right? We're going to suck for the time being to gear up our roster through draft picks for the long haul.
Yeah, we'll see. But that surprised a lot of people around the league, for sure. All right, let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first,
elevate your tailgate with Chapel Supply and Equipment in Oklahoma City. Chapel Supply and Equipment has generators and inverters on hand that'll give you all the power you need so you can take your tailgate to the next level. They've also got top-of-the-line heaters to keep you warm during those cold tailgates later in the season, like if you're going to the Chiefs playoff game this weekend and tailgating.
Like I am.
Oh, yeah. They're Oklahoma-owned and operated. Elevate your tailgate by calling 405-495-1722 or visit chapelsupply.com. That's CHAPPELL supply.com.
And attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at Insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
For my winner of the week, thought about going with Griffin Media. Love that the Thunder are going to be broadcasting those Friday night games here on local television. And if you want all the details, you can go check out the press release from the Thunder and from Griffin. But, Ted, I've been saying it for a while, especially with how good the team is now. More Thunder fans need to be able to watch this team without having to jump through a bunch of hoops. And hopefully this is a start to something where Thunder fans, not only in Oklahoma and in this region, but Thunder fans everywhere can have easier and less expensive access to watching this basketball team. So I was fired up to see that announcement.
Totally agree. Yeah, that's awesome. It's been a pain. There's so many different options and let's just say situations on television for people these days that it's not nearly as easy as it should be to watch your local professional team, whatever that is. And I was thrilled with that announcement, shocked by it because I don't understand how all those moving parts work in television. It feels like a huge feat to be able to pull that off.
Well,
in the current negotiations and contracts and all that.
Yeah, Bally Sports they've had some disastrous moments here
Yes.
over the last couple seasons, and the league and the company that the NBA and the company that owns Bally Sports now, they negotiated where I believe you could do up to 10 games right this way, and a bunch of teams have done it. And my hope is that this is the start, not only just for the Thunder, but the NBA needs to be easier to watch for people in the market and even the people outside the market. It shouldn't be as hard as it is. So I'm hoping this is the start of not only a bigger shift for the Thunder and for Thunder fans, but just for NBA fans in general to be able to watch their squad, man. I mean, that's not a lot of people can't afford to go to these games. And the way you build your fan base, you just have to got to be on television. It needs to be easy to access it, whether you're streaming YouTube TV, whether you're watching traditional cable, whether you got the old antenna fired up. It doesn't matter. It needs to be easier for all NBA fans. So I know that ultimately you're trying to make money off the TV deals and that type of stuff, but I think Adam Silver in the league, I think that they recognize that it's been too much of a struggle for people.
Yeah,
and I think they're trying to make it right.
The regional television situation, this regional sports situation it feels like it's a dying situation and there's a pivot incoming. Not exactly sure what that's going to be, but it feels like we're kind of on the brink of all of that stuff changing in some way.
Maybe a local affiliate will acquire the podcast and they can put it on their channel.
Yeah.
We're always open to discussions. All right, but for my winner of the week, let's talk some NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. Man, I love some of these matchups.
Right, the NFL writers got it right this year, didn't they?
That you're absolutely correct. You've got Cleveland at Houston, Miami at Kansas City, Pittsburgh at Buffalo, Green Bay at Dallas, the Rams at Detroit, and then Philly at Tampa. When you look at the slate for Super Wild Card Weekend, it's Super Wild Card Weekend now. It used to just be Wild Card Weekend. Now it's Super.
I like that.
But which one or two really stand out to you? Which ones are you the most excited about?
Miami at Kansas City is what I am most excited about. If that game was played in Miami, I'd have a totally different feeling about it. With it being played in Kansas City and what that forecast looks like, oh my God.
I will be in Arrowhead for that game. And my wife has ordered every heated clothing item that exists on the planet. I mean, we have heated socks, heated gloves, heated vests, ready to roll, baby. I think the high's like 0 at kickoff. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah, not including the wind. And hopefully I know it's all charged, but you need an outlet under your seat wherever you're sitting. Plug yourself in. That's awesome.
Bring a generator.
Bring a generator. That's awesome. That's the way to do it. But those games, I believe that this sport is meant to be played in the elements, in the weather. So I always love those games. Kansas City has not looked good down the stretch. Neither has Miami. That game I think is really interesting. And then obviously the Detroit game with Stafford I think is awesome. Green Bay at Dallas. Everyone's starting to like talk about Dallas's path to the Super Bowl looks awesome all of a sudden. You've seen Dallas in the playoffs recently, right? I mean, come on. This is the like you have to huddle around the television here to see if they stub their toe once again in the playoffs. And then, Philly at Tampa. Baker is the easiest guy in the NFL to root for. Jalen Hurts and Philly have like really fallen apart down the stretch. I mean, they're all interesting. I like all the games.
That's why it's my winner of the week. I was just looking at the slate, this is gonna be a lot of fun. Especially you look at Cleveland at Houston. Houston's a home dog to Joe Flacco. I mean, who knew
that you never would have thought would have made the playoffs this year with the way it started?
Who knew that I would be so excited to watch Joe Flacco and CJ Stroud have a showdown? Like, it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. And then Green Bay at Dallas. Dallas fans have to be very confident, but also, like you mentioned, just a little nervous.
Little nervous.
Now, there's almost one thing that's guaranteed in that game, and that's
CD
that CeeDee Lamb. That's that CeeDee Lamb's going to score a touchdown. We haven't talked a lot about it, but my goodness.
Cowboy record.
He may be the best player in the NFL right now. Like, regardless of position. That's how well he's playing. He is unbelievable right now.
Just missed out on leading the league in receiving yards got beat by 50 by Tyreek Hill. Has caught a touchdown in I don't know how many consecutive games now. He's playing great ball. Awesome. But Green Bay has just kind of flown under the radar this year, and they're a solid football team.
It's Jordan Love has a chance to make some noise in that one.
Yep.
So we'll see what it looks like. But yeah, the Philly at Tampa game is, I think Philly's the better football team. It's hard to gauge how healthy they are right now. So, and clearly, a lot of OU fans are going to be torn in that one. But I still think OU fans' love for Baker kind of trumps everything else.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun one to watch. One thing I'll say about that game, is it weird that I hate that in the playoffs there's a Monday night game?
No, I don't. It's ridiculous.
What? You should not have to play a playoff game on short rest.
No.
That's I don't know, it feels wrong to me.
It is wrong. Now, I can't say that it won't be awesome to have 3 days of playoff football.
I didn't say that.
Right, but it does feel like a massive disadvantage to somebody.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but I'm going to watch it. I do think out of all the games, and I'm going to be in Kansas City watching the Belldozer. But I do think out of all the games that interest me the most, Rams at Lions. I mean, the storyline of Stafford going back there.
First time hosting a playoff game in that.
And for forever. That place, Ford Field, is going to be insane for that game. That one's going to be a lot of fun. And you look at it, Detroit, 3-point favorite.
Yeah, the Rams are quiet good.
Oh, yeah.
They've come a long way. They were just floundering around for, a big portion of the season. And then, it's like Miami, Philly, there's some teams that are going into the playoffs where at the midpoint of the season, it's like they're Super Bowl bound. And then they just kind of limp into the playoffs, not on much of a hot streak at all. it's kind of interesting to see like how these two different kind of entry into the playoffs, how they shake out in this week and next week.
Yeah. All right, for my loser of the week, thought about going with the Houston Cougars. They're undefeated, number 2 in the country. Went to Hilton Coliseum, and welcome to the Big 12, gentlemen.
Yeah, buddy, get used to it.
It's their first loss of the year. Momcilovic with a ridiculous fade to take the lead late, hits a couple free throws to seal the thing. Maybe the biggest wake-up call for Kelvin Sampson and that Houston team. Didn't storm the court. Undefeated number 2, knock them off. Iowa State fans were like, yeah, this is what we do, man. No big deal. Yep. Now, the players ran out on the court kind of like they thought that somebody was going to storm the court. I'm not going to lie. But that's pretty impressive stuff from TJ Otzelberger's group. And did you hear him after the game? He was like, we're never an underdog in Hilton Coliseum. It was just like, okay, man. Okay, we get it.
Well, I mean, but that's this conference is incredibly difficult to win on the road. You got to win your home games and hope to steal 1 or 2 on the road, and that's about it. You know, like that's. Now I know they're way better than most, and will probably do better than that. But it's just a sign of how difficult this year is going to be if you thought you were going to cruise.
Yep. But my loser of the week, Nike. Tiger Woods, with the announcement that he's leaving Nike after 27 years. Ted, how does this happen? I'm going to be straight up. And I had followed, he's wearing FootJoy shoes now. Nike stopped making equipment, so he's using different balls. He's used in different clubs. Like, I get all that. But I also just figured he had a lifetime contract with Nike in place. I just always figured that. And especially Nike stuck with him through like all the lows in his personal life with the injuries. Like Nike was there. So I just figured he was Nike for life, and no. Moving on. All the great ads over the years, just now history. Where's he going? How could Nike let this happen? What's Phil Knight doing? I have so many questions.
I don't know.
It's weird, right? It feels strange.
Well, here's this is my first thought. He's at a point where whatever tournaments he plays, I don't know what he's going to play, but it's going to be few and far between, right? If there were ever a time for him to do like his own brand, it would be now, where he's got more time to dedicate to it than he has ever really had.
Right.
So, to me, Nike's always been the easy thing for him. It's mailbox money. You hammer out some commercials. It's just, that's easy. But now that you've got some more time to devote to different things, if he wanted to do his own brand, I think people would eat it up, because for the foreseeable future, he's going to be the most famous name in golf, whether he's playing or not, until there's a new young superstar that can, change the sport the way he did, which I don't know if that's possible at this point. So that's the only thing I would see, if you're ready to devote time to it and start your own.
Yeah, I just, what happens to the TW logo that's all over the Nike stuff? Like Scotty Scheffler, the number 1 player in the world, wears Tiger Woods branded Nike gear. So does he own that TW logo? Like, can he take it and just put it on stuff? I don't know. Does Nike own it? I have so many questions about this situation, But I think my top question is, where's he going to go? And what does that mean for his son? Because I always just assumed, hey, Charlie Woods is going to be a Nike guy. And now, and Charlie Woods has a long way to go to be, what a lot of people think he can be in golf.
Is
But he
he?
looks,
Like, I don't know. Like, the stuff I see looks awesome, but that's like, cherry picked, and like, I don't have a golf eye. I don't know. It all looks good to me,
he
so
he looks like he's going to be a tour level guy
okay.
from some of the golf people that I read stuff from. But do do Tiger and Charlie Woods then like start some brand? Do they just go under the TaylorMade umbrella and start a line of apparel? Like, I don't know, but I guess we'll see. What the Genesis at Riviera is in about a month. I got a feeling he's going to be wearing something new.
What do you think it's going to be?
I don't know.
I
I
think it's going to
hope.
be its own deal.
I want it to be his own deal because it just feels to me, and Jordan's Nike, but I don't know. Tiger Woods, it just feels like he should have his own thing.
Yeah.
And I think if he started his own thing, I think a lot of guys would want to wear it. Because you got to remember, a lot of these guys on the tour grew up absolutely idolizing him.
It'd be the same as being a Jordan athlete.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a big deal in the NBA.
Big deal.
There's not a
Yeah.
lot of them. So he could handpick the guys that he wanted. It would be a massive deal. Ted, if Tiger Woods comes out with a line of golf apparel, guess what you and I are going to do?
Fork it over.
We'll be purchasing. We'll be purchasing what he's offering.
I want him to make clubs. I'd like to get some Woods. Yeah.
Let's do what you did there.
Yeah.
That's where I wonder how big this is going to get. Like, is it a situation where he's just making clothes? Or is it a situation where he wants to do the entire thing? Clubs, balls, bags, all the apparel, shoes, hats, gloves. That's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work.
Know, but he's got a new. He's gonna have to, like, he's shifting gears phase of his life right now,
right?
And he's gonna have to figure out, because he's not gonna be a week in, week out tour player. He's probably going to be devoting, it looks like, at least from what I've seen, devoting a lot of time to his son's golf. And I mean, he's going to be a front man for something. And if he wants a new venture and wants to dive into something, it would be the easiest money he ever made. Well, I don't know. He's made a lot of easy money, but it would go off big time, as long as it's a good product, right? You can't just slap a name on crap. If you do top level stuff, then people will line up for it.
Would you rather have the TW logo or a silhouette of like the iconic fist pump as the logo? Because Jordan, you think of the Jordan logo. I mean, and there's kind of multiple, but everyone knows the Jordan logo when they see it. Flying through the air about to dunk the basketball, right?
Yeah.
I think I would want the fist pump logo. Like on a hat, I think that would be cooler than the TW. But that's my initial reaction.
You need a silhouette, like the ultimate, like, now that you mention it, the ultimate thing in sports is to have a silhouette. There's no branding on it. There's no jersey. There's no identifying aspect of it other than whatever that movement is. Like, and he's got a bunch of them. I mean, everyone, like, most people that you don't even have to watch a lot of golf, you know a Tiger Woods swing when you see it. Like if you could see it, you say that swing is Tiger Woods, and you couldn't identify a lot of people, maybe Jim Furyk, but everyone kind of knows that. So that's a hell of an idea. I think it would be something like that.
I don't know if you can tell, but I've spent a lot of time thinking about this entire situation. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I do too.
All right.